What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me. This is Payne. Another Street Fighter Duel video. And guys, I want to redo this one a little bit because two new characters have been released and they've made a massive impact. So I think it's only fair that I revamp my my so-called quote-unquote top units. But this time, we're going to do it better. So the last time I gave you guys the top 5 units for pay-to-win and free-to-play. This time, I'm going to actually make it a little more elaborate because I know a lot of people don't have all 5 units for either side. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to cover the top units within each faction. This way you have more variety to focus on and you guys have a better idea of who are the best units in the game with every faction, not just in general. Okay, that way more to choose from within PvP, PvE, etc. So we're going to go from top to bottom and we're going to start off with the first faction is going to be the master faction. So we're going to go into the gallery here real quick. So between the 3 masters now, Gen was top DPS. Now Cammy has come out and Cammy has absolutely dominated the charts. Like, she is by far, and I'm talking about like really far, the top DPS in the game for many reasons. And right now she is probably the only contender to maybe when Akuma comes out for damage. And there's a reason behind it. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you guys real quick why. Not only are her skills extremely popular and she has a ton of damage with shock, but she does require you to get 6 out of 6 cards in order to really make an impact, right? And the reason why that makes her so powerful is because if you look at her actual garage, the cards here, every time she does a shock, right, the damage is recorded, which means it kind of sits with the unit as it ticks. When Elven Dance hits a target, it deals 30% of the total shock damage recorded as bonus true damage, which means nothing can block that damage. It's just straight damage at 600%. Now, if you get 6 out of 6 cards, it becomes 1,200% of her attack, which, if you don't understand math, is absolutely bonkers. So she is a powerhouse when it comes down to specifically melting guild bosses or any event bosses. Sorry, I'm going to just adjust my camera here a little bit, guys. So if you're looking for the top DPS right now, Gen has been absolutely replaced. Jury has been absolutely replaced. Cammy is now the top DPS. But with that being said, we all know that Akuma is coming down the pipe very soon. We don't know how good he is. She's a character that's not limited, so you can hold off and save for him if you want. But if you're looking to make an impact on your account right away, obviously you're more than welcome to go for her. But I'm personally waiting. But she is right now the top DPS in the game. So Rose is still the most relevant buffing unit, but she now has competition, and we'll talk more about that. So Rose is definitely still top tier unit for buffs and off heals, so definitely go for her. Again, now has fallen off. So if you're starting this game and you're looking to like whale or get a specific character, Cammy's what you want to go for. Even at base, she's still better than Gen. In terms of the master level. And now I think if you guys see my Akuma video, based on the assets that are in the game and what he is currently in Shadowloo City, he may also be a master, so keep that in mind. Okay, so just an FYI. Alright, going over to the Infernals. If you missed MH Ken, you're out of luck. See, he would be the second best unit there, but all 3 are absolutely viable. Now here's the thing again, right? If you're looking to get top DPS, Cammy still wins that round over the Infernal DPS, but Bison is still perhaps the most impactful character in the game. So that is going to be your #1 go-to, even with just an A version, him in the front line reviving constantly as long as the other guys can survive. He will still be your best go-to unit for survivability and progression in the early to mid games. He's still extremely required in endgame, but does require more top-up units. But he is the least amount of investment for the most amount of impact, right? So I would do Bison first. MH Ken is out of the question. He would have been second because he was an exclusive fighter. Hence, you see this little logo down here. And then Jury's still good. She's still viable, but she's just not as powerful as she was when the game first started, which is clear, right? All right, so we got those guys out of the way. So I'm going to say Cammy and Bison are going to be your best 2 choices here. Rose obviously is in there as well too. So you've got 3 good choices here to go if you're going to be pay to win. But those are the 3 you want to focus on. All right, and so that's it for Master and that's it for Infernal. We're moving on until new ones come out. All right, let's talk about Wind. So things have changed a little bit now, guys. Okay, with the introduction of Poison as being the best buffing unit in the game for every boss and event, she is now pretty much a must-have for anyone who wants to do mid to end game, even start, right? Because she has a charm, she has an AoE, and she has the best buffs in the game. Now, if you don't know what her buffs are, she does crit damage increase, attack increase, and pressure increase, which are all absolutely bomb when it comes down to DPS, and every DPS needs it. So, and they all stack up to 5 times. So it's a pretty insane unit to have for buffing. She also has a mini charm built in, which is called where is it? Right here. Charm, which also is a mini Toxic Love EX move. So if you don't want the buffs because you already have enough DPS, that charm can really mess up teams a lot, because what ends up happening is when you charm somebody, the other units attack that charmed person and they end up adding extra DPS to your already DPS, right? So absolutely a big powerhouse. Does not require the 6 vehicles. Hell, to be quite honest, doesn't even really need to get SS plus. But if you do get SS plus on her and you unlock her fighting spirit, her normal attacks end up becoming her combo 1, which means you can stack up to 5 times extremely quickly, giving you those buffs almost permanently throughout the fight. So absolutely a must-have unit. All right, another wind unit that's still a must-have is B. Zangief, probably the best off-tank stun vacuum AoE unit. Pretty much essential for all progression for free to play. Still a must-have and the fastest unit in the game, so used pretty much throughout the entire game. Still mid, early, and end game content using him, as well as all PvP setups, and has one of the, I think, only bleeds in the game as well too. Maybe there's another character that has it as well, but really, really good. The C2 especially is what makes him really strong, because you can interrupt and stun combos if you do it manually on time. And again, like I mentioned, with his passive, he's the fastest unit in the game, and also offers himself damage reduction. So definitely a must-have. So those 2 units must-haves. All right, the next 2 units that are must-haves. Now, Chun-Li was on the list. I'm going to actually take her off the list now, okay? Because I'm going to do top 4 here, not top 5. If it's top 5, she'll be on the list again, but she's the 5th one. She's still really, really good. I did a showcase. You can watch it. But she really drops off at end game. I find her really good early to mid game, but end game she drops off. But the two that do last, those two to end game, is still going to be Cammy, which is an F2P player and also is one of the best assists, has armor break, has some of the best single target damage in the game, super speedy character, and an absolute joy to use. So definitely Cammy will still be one of your top units, especially for single target DPS and bosses. So if you're not going to go for trendy Cammy, you can use the wind version and still do insane damage with her. And like I said, still one of the best assists in the game by jumping in and providing armor break at I think it's a pretty high chance actually. So definitely focus on Cammy. And then lastly, Guile. Guile's going to be one of your best AoE units. Also provides, I believe he has armor break as well too, right? So and with his saber buffs, he's extremely powerful. So Guile is going to be your go-to damage dealer for a very, very long time in the winged unit. So definitely, guys, those are the best ones. Some honorable mentions here, like I said, Chun-Li still really good, mid game, up to mid game, and Guy still does have some utility as an assassin, but there's a better assassin. We'll talk about her shortly as well. Everyone else here is kind of kind of not memorable. Abel is pretty good as a tank, but tanks aren't really used that often, and he's going to be used mostly for his assist at the moment. But yeah, there's just way better tanks out there. So again, for the win section, New Poison, Zangief, Guile, and Cammy. All right, those are your big ones, guys. All right, moving on to Lightning, which is slowly starting to become one of my favorite ones. So must-haves here: Mad Ryu, early to mid game, absolute powerhouse. The problem is with endgame, he's too suicidal, so he becomes a little bit less useful. But early to mid game, he is going to be your main damage dealer for a long time. Easy to get. You can actually get copies of him for free doing the global operation. So yeah, absolute powerhouse in this. And he also has a Dispel on shield and an auto fireball after X amount of HP is lost, I believe, on the opponent. So just easy to get, easy to use. Definitely use him early to mid game. He's going to progress you pretty damn far. All right. Another really big one here is Blanca. A lot of people are sleeping on Blanca, but counterattack, off tank, extremely high HP, super high attack power, and has shock abilities and does great CC by countering and by knocking opponents down, and just overall an AoE powerhouse, man. So do not sleep on Blanca. I didn't mention him last video, but I've been using him more often. I'm very impressed with what he does. So definitely Mad Ryu, Blanca. E Honda, the best tank in the game by far for any faction. Desperation is crazy. He shares damage with your team, so you won't get knocked out. He'll actually absorb a lot of it. Desperation allows you to live longer. He also heals himself when he's in desperation after 30% HP has been dropped. So he also has a great interrupt and an incredible tank. Unfortunately, tanks aren't used early to mid game because they're not required, but end game you will need him. PvP Team 3 showdowns, for example, or Team 2 showdowns, you'll need him. So definitely very important to build him up. Zangief is also really, really good. Plays a different role though. Zangief has a mass taunt, which is great because it stops people from doing combos. It just makes normal attacks, and they attack him only. And then also he has a damage reduction for all of the elements. So soul, thunder, or shock, I should say, or thunder damage, I guess. Flame damage, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I believe those three main ones. So really, really good tank, but E Honda unfortunately has the edge, so I would definitely build E Honda. But if you have Zangief as a tank and you're looking for one, still really good option. All right, and then lastly, Elena. You won't be really using her until probably 27, 28 stage. And further on, but she becomes almost a necessity for most second, third, first teams. So the best healer in the game at the moment. Where if you get her FS 30 up, she also does her battle dance move, which increases your attack power. The only problem with that one is if you get it to plus 30 and she does battle dance plus the heal, she actually jumps into the fight, which can get her knocked out pretty quickly. So keep that in mind before getting her to plus 30. But if she does avoid the damage, it's an absolute amazing buff for your units to do more damage. So yeah, definitely Elena. So those are the four I'd go with: Mad Ryu, Blanca, E Honda, or Zangief if you don't have E Honda, and Elena. Now, Combat Guile is really good, as is Charming Dudley, but they're just not enough here. Combat Guile does have a Dispel, and he has high HP, and he does do shock as well, so he's really good, but I wouldn't put him before anybody else. Makoto I wouldn't also touch at all as a tank. I don't really find her that good right now. Maybe does better later on. And then Charming Dudley, I mean, pretty good starter, but overall lackluster kid in my opinion. Just my opinion. If you guys like him, I mean, use him, but that's just my opinion. So those are the four guys: Blanca, E Honda, or Zangief, Elena, and Mad Ryu. And again, Mad Ryu falls off endgame. Keep that in mind. He does just like Chun-Li. He falls off endgame. You won't be using him. All right, moving on to Flame. All right, guys. So this is slowly becoming actually my favorite faction now. Sea Viper, must have. Absolutely the most deadly assassin in the game. Will take out third units with her AoE special, which double taps. Has an AoE detonation, so if anyone who has flames, she'll detonate all the flames and make that damage happen all at once rather than ticks. She's just an overall biggest burst damage dealer out of the free-to-play units, and really easy to get to. So Sea Viper, highly recommend. One of the best AoE in the game is going to be Dalsim. Yoga Flame as a combo 3 is essential to clearing a lot of content. Great for Bison teams. So must have these two right here. All right. Now, Fei Long is a decent assist. You don't need to have him. He does increase fire damage, so that is kind of nice for him to be around. He also has a stun in his combo 1, but you won't be using his combo 1 ever usually. So he's a great assist. I would put him in assist category. DJ's a decent tank with a stun and a shield. Again, nothing to really write home about. Hugo is a good heal tank. He does have high survivability. DeCapre is a decent execution user, but again, these guys are not really must-haves. Even Adon has grave injury and also does more damage based on his I think what's it called here? It's called Hatred Mark. There it is. So Hatred Mark's pretty good. So he's not bad actually. So you can put him in your lineup as well. But really, the main two you want to focus on are going to be these two here. Charming Dudley here, or sorry, just regular Dudley is actually pretty good because of his counter attacks. So he could be a pretty good DPS for you, especially as a balanced character. So he has a lot of HP. Mayor Cody is interesting as well. He has the duel assist, which I like. So if you duel with somebody and you beat them, I believe he does, where's that duel passive? There it is, duel. Deals 70% increased damage against a dueling target, right? So, and deals 50% less to targets who are not in duel, so that's kind of the problem. So if it's a one-on-one thing, it's pretty good. He'll be great for bosses, to be honest with you. So definitely use him as a boss passive. Or even as a boss assist, because duel is one of his assists, but he's, again, nothing really to write about. So it's probably the weakest of the groups, that slowly becoming one of my more unique ones, but definitely Dalsim and Sea Viper guys are essentials. Fei Long is pretty damn good. I'd get a Dawn up, and maybe DeCapre if you're looking for that. Now for legendaries, this guy here, incredible damage. So I've already done a video on him. Check him out there. F Sakura is also really good off healing and damage and debuff, but the problem is you have to buy her. Alright guys, so that's pretty much the list there. If you have anything to add, please do so in the comment section, but I hope this list helped you out. We got a couple new heroes in units that I think are making a splash and impact. So if you're watching this now and you see the old one, remember the old one no longer qualifies quite as well. The new one is what matters, because we've got new kings of DPS, or queens of DPS in this case, and we've got new queens of buffing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.